My name is Ava Delgado. I'm 31. And last Christmas Eve, I got hit with a lesson I'll never forget. The kind of lesson that wakes you all the way up, even when you think you're already at rock bottom. Picture this. It's 20-something degrees outside, snow blowing sideways, and I'm standing on my mom's back porch eating Christmas dinner alone while my entire family laughs inside like they're filming a damn holiday commercial. Why? Because my mom decided my janitor clothes didn't match the holiday aesthetic. Yep, that's a real quote. She said my vibe might throw off the other guests, and that maybe I should sit outside so no one gets uncomfortable, like I'm a raccoon she's trying to keep off the furniture. But what really broke me wasn't the cold, or the humiliation, or the way my sister Betrayal live-streamed the whole thing like she was hosting some reality show. It was when a $100 million Powerball ticket slipped out of my jacket pocket and landed on the marble floor. And my mom, the same woman who raised me, the same woman who told me love mattered more than money, the same woman who warned us about being greedy, dove for that ticket like she was tackling someone in the NFL. And the scream she let out when she realized I'd already cashed it 3 weeks earlier and donated $90 million. Yeah, that sound lives rent-free in my head. But before I get into that part, do me a favor. Hit subscribe if you're into stories where karma pulls up with a front row seat. And tell me where you're watching from. I'm always curious what time zone my drama lands in. Okay, let's rewind. 5 years ago, I wasn't a janitor. I was running my own company, a startup called NovaBridge, helping small businesses automate their customer service. I was proud of it. I built it from scratch. I worked 14-hour days and thought hustle would save me. Spoiler alert, it didn't. A major client bailed, investors pulled out, and I lost over $400,000. My savings, my retirement, even the money I'd borrowed against my apartment, everything, gone. Fast forward to now. I mop floors in the same office building where my company once had its headquarters. Every night from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. I drag my cleaning cart past conference rooms full of people who have no idea they're sitting in what used to be my office. My name used to be on the glass. Now I wipe fingerprints off that same glass. And the worst part, my family treats my fall like it's their favorite joke. My mom, Lucinda, never misses a chance to remind everyone I blew my big chance. My sister Betrayal says I peaked too early. My cousins call me Janitor Ava like it's my government name. And I just take it. I take the comments, the snickers, the fake pity. Because I learned something. People show their true colors when you're broke. But the universe? Sometimes it shows you a little something too. 3 weeks before Christmas, I picked up a crumpled dollar bill from behind an office toilet. Nasty, damp, probably older than me. Anyone else would have tossed it. Not me. When you're poor, a dollar is a dollar. So, yeah, I used that same dollar to buy a Powerball ticket on my way home. And that stupid, wrinkled bathroom dollar, it made me a multimillionaire. And that, right there, is where everything started to change. Winning the lottery didn't hit me all at once. It wasn't like in the movies where confetti falls and angels sing. For me, it felt more like disbelief. Like my brain just refused to process it. I remember staring at those numbers in my cramped little apartment, the heater rattling like it was fighting for its life, and thinking, no way, no freaking way. I checked the numbers again, and again, and again. I even Googled symptoms of reading numbers wrong, because I was convinced I'd lost it. But it was real, $100 million. Thing is, I didn't celebrate. I panicked. Not because of the money, no. Because I knew exactly what Lucinda and Betrayal would do if they found out. And I knew my extended family would treat me like a pinata full of cash. So I did what any burned out, broke woman with trust issues would do. I hired a lawyer I found through a janitor friend. Yeah, that's real life. Her name was Natalie Chun, the sharpest attorney I'd ever met. She didn't blink when I slid the ticket across her desk. She just sat back and said, "Okay, Ava, here's how we keep your life from turning into a dumpster fire. First step? Claim the winnings quietly through a trust." I named it the Blue Horizon Foundation after the skyline I used to stare at from my old CEO office before everything fell apart. Second step, decide what to do with the money. I knew instantly. I wanted to help women like me. Women who failed big, women everyone mocked, women who kept trying anyway, women who needed a second shot. So I donated 90 million into the foundation, kept 10 million for myself. And you know what? It felt right. I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. But peace wasn't in the cards, not with my family. 2 weeks before Christmas, Brill called me out of nowhere. And let me tell you, my sister never calls unless she's bored or wants something. Hey, Ava, she said in that fake sweet tone, stretching my name like gum. Sue, Mom said you're coming for Christmas Eve, right? Yeah, I replied. Why? Well, she said, lowering her voice, just don't make it weird this year, okay? People noticed last time. Noticed what? My broken life? My Goodwill clothes? My cheap purse? Or maybe how she loudly explained to her TikTok followers that I was the sister who never figured it out. Whatever. I let it roll off. Then Mom texted me her traditional holiday message. Arrive by 4 p.m. dressed tastefully. Don't embarrass me. Classic Lucinda. She always cared more about appearances than people, especially me. In her eyes, I went from promising daughter to family failure overnight. Still, I knew I had to show up. Not for her, but for what was coming. So that morning, I grabbed the photocopy of the Powerball ticket crisp, clean, perfect. I slid it into my back pocket, pulled on the faded sweater I bought from Goodwill, tied my hair back in a messy bun, and told myself, tonight's the night. Let them underestimate me, let them laugh. Because the storm was coming, and this time, I wasn't the one getting soaked. When I pulled up to my mom's house on Christmas Eve, the driveway looked like a luxury car showroom. Mercedes, Teslas, BMWs. The kind of cars people buy when they care more about labels than bills. Meanwhile, my old Nissan made a sound like it was clearing its throat just to keep running. I stepped out, adjusting the thrift store sweater that smelled faintly like someone else's detergent. The cold slapped me across the face, and the wind cut through the sweater like it wasn't even there. Perfect. The vibe matched the mood. Through the big front windows, I could see the warmth spilling out laughing relatives. Glittery outfits, giant chandeliers sparkling like it swallowed a whole paycheck. And there stood Lucinda, at the center of it all, like some queen bee soaking up attention. I took a deep breath, walked to the door, and rang the bell. Brielle opened it, eyes scanning me from head to toe. Her smile froze mid-face. Oh, wow, you actually wore that? She said, blinking hard. Yep, I replied. Merry Christmas to you too. Behind her, cousins hovered like spectators at a circus. Someone whispered, oh my God, she looks like she came from a bus stop. Not even quietly. The house smelled like expensive candles and roasted beef Wellington. The floors were ridiculous white marble imported from Italy, polished so much I could see my own reflection judging me. Lucinda approached slowly, holding a champagne flute like it was part of her hand. Ava, she said, forcing a smile. I thought we talked about dressing appropriately. Oh, we did, I answered. I followed instructions, she scoffed, muttered something about interpretation, then turned to the room and announced, everyone, Ava's here. Silence. Awkward, heavy silence. I headed toward the dining room, pretending not to notice the stares. The table was set for 32 people with gold-trimmed plates and designer centerpieces. Whole thing probably cost a month of my old rent. But as I scanned the table, my stomach dropped. There were exactly 31 chairs. No place card for me, of course. Lucinda put a hand on my shoulder light, cold, performative. Oh, sweetheart, I must have miscounted again. It happens, she said, even though it clearly didn't. You can sit on the back porch, Brill chimed in, already filming on her phone.
The heater's working, kind of, the cousins snickered.
One said, well, she's used to eating alone. Another added, better than sitting next to her thrift store sweater. I felt the sting. Not gonna lie. But I wasn't here to fight old battles. I was here for one moment. So I nodded, opened the French doors, and stepped into the freezing air. The porch lights flickered like even the house was embarrassed for me. There was a wobbly folding table with a paper plate set on top half a slice of beef Wellington, potatoes, and a roll that looked stale before it hit the plate. Inside, through the glass, I watched my family take their seats. I watched their toasts, their laughter, their smug smiles, and then Lucinda stood up, tapped her glass, and said loudly, "Before we bless this beautiful evening, I'd like to share something important." Everyone quieted. She looked at me. "Right at me." "I have officially updated my will," she announced, chin lifted. "Everything, my estate, my savings, the house will go to Betrayal." Gasps, whispers, smug smiles. "As for Ava," she added, "she's chosen a different path." "I won't reward failure," cheers erupted. Betrayal pretended to cry from happiness. Outside, I sat still, numb from cold, numb from everything. But under that numbness, a spark. A small, growing, unstoppable spark. Because I knew something they didn't. In my back pocket sat a photocopy of the Powerball ticket worth $100 million. And it was almost time to use it. The moment my mom finished her speech, the entire dining room erupted like she'd just announced world peace. Betrayal stood, wiping fake tears from her overfilled lashes, hugging relatives who suddenly acted like they'd always believed in her. My cousins were already calculating what they could borrow from her future inheritance. And there I was outside in the cold, watching them celebrate cutting me out of the family like I was some outsider who wandered in off the street. I stared through the glass door, my breath fogging up the window. The porch heater sputtered once, then completely died, of course. Inside, Lucinda was still talking. She loved an audience almost as much as she loved money. "I just want everyone to know," she said, raising her glass. "This family rewards those who maintain ambition, discipline, and dignity." The irony almost sent me into orbit. Betrayal? Ambitious? Her biggest goal was landing a brand deal for Flat Tummy Tea. Me? I lost everything building something real. Had to climb back up with blistered hands while they laughed. And yet, here we were. I took a slow breath, letting the cold calm my nerves. I wasn't here to cry or crack. I was here to finish what I started. After 30 minutes of watching them eat dessert in their heated, designer-lit dining room, I stood up. My legs were stiff, and my fingers were numb, but my mind was sharp. Time for round 2. I opened the French doors and stepped inside. Warm air hit me like a slap, and the entire room went silent as I walked toward the kitchen with my untouched plate. "Just returning this," I said softly. My voice didn't tremble. I didn't stutter. I didn't shrink. But Lucinda smirked like she'd won some kind of championship. "Running away already?" she asked. "You always did fold under pressure," Betrayal chimed in. "Yeah, sis. While you're up, maybe clear the rest of the table. You're used to that, right?" Her friends snickered behind their champagne flutes. I put the plate in the sink and turned around slowly. "Actually," I said, "I've been meaning to show you all something." Every head lifted. Phones came out, of course. My family loves drama as long as they're the villains, not the victims. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out the crisp photocopy of the Powerball ticket. Lucinda's eyes narrowed. "What's that?" "A little souvenir," I said casually. "From a lottery ticket I bought a few weeks ago," murmurs broke out. Betrayal's wine glass clinked against her teeth. Lucinda stepped closer, her voice sharp. "Ava, what are you talking about?" I held the paper up between two fingers, letting the chandelier light dance across the numbers. "I won," I said simply. "The $100 million Powerball." The room froze. Like someone had hit a universal pause button. My mom's face went from confusion to shock, to calculation. "You're lying," she whispered. There's no way. I claimed it 3 weeks ago," I continued. Quietly. "Through a trust." Someone gasped. Someone else dropped a fork. Lucinda took a step forward. "Oh my God," she breathed. "Ava, sweetheart." "We should talk." "No," I cut her off. "You made your choice. You cut me out before you knew who I'd become." Betrayal stumbled forward. Wait, Ava." I stepped back. "You both laughed at me tonight," I said. "But here's what you don't know." I looked directly at them. "I'm not here to join the family table." I paused, letting it sink in. "I'm here to flip it." The room stayed frozen for a solid 10 seconds after I said it. You could practically hear everyone's brains rebooting. Lucinda blinked first. "Ava," she whispered, inching closer like I was a loose stack of cash blowing down the street. "We should discuss this privately." I stepped back. "Nope," Everything I have to say, I'll say right here. 30 relatives, all of them suddenly silent, leaned in like they were front row at a boxing match. Ava, honey, she said softly, her voice coated in fake sweetness. We're family. There's no reason to. I cut her off again. You made me eat Christmas dinner on the porch. Gasps rippled around the table. Lucinda stiffened. You lacked appropriate attire. I was protecting the atmosphere of the evening. The atmosphere? I laughed. You stuck your own daughter outside in the freezing cold like I was the dog you forgot to bring in. No one breathed. Brielle finally found her voice. Ava, look, Mom was just
Humiliating me, I said. Calling me an embarrassment?
laughing about my job. Acting like you're better than me because you film your breakfast for TikTok? Her jaw dropped. Someone snorted under their breath. I turned back to the room. Since everyone seems very interested in inheritance tonight, here's the truth. Every phone in the room shifted toward me. I don't want a penny from Lucinda. Not her money, not her house, not her approval. My mom's face fell, confusion flickering in her eyes. But what I do have, I continued, pulling another sheet of paper from my pocket, is something none of you know. I placed the document on the table. It was the deed. My foundation, I said, the Blue Horizon Foundation, bought this house last week. The room exploded. What? No way? Is she serious? Lucinda grabbed the paper with frantic hands. This is ridiculous, she snapped. This house is mine. No, I said calmly. Grandma owned it when her trust transferred the property because of, shall we say, concerns about how you treat your family. I paused as Lucinda's face drained. She chose me. Lucinda staggered back like I'd punched her. She gave it to you? She gave it to someone she believed would preserve the family legacy, I replied. Not someone who turned Christmas into a social status tournament. Lucinda shook her head. No, this can't. It's legal, I said. The house is mine. And because it's part of the foundation now, it won't be sold. It won't be gambled away. And no one here is entitled to it. The room was dead silent. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't angry. I was done. So here's the deal, I said. You can all stay and enjoy the rest of Christmas. But starting tomorrow, everyone except Grandma is no longer welcome here. Lucinda's mouth fell open. You're evicting your own mother? I'm removing toxicity, I said. There's a difference. Grandma Eleanor, who'd been silent the whole night, suddenly clapped her hands. Finally, she said. Someone in this family grew a spine. I smiled. Lucinda rushed toward me, desperate. Ava, please. I stepped back. No more begging. No more proving myself. No more sitting on porches. I looked around the room one last time. I'm done being your embarrassment from now on. I'm the one rewriting this family story. And with that, I walked out. Not to the porch, not to the cold, but to the front door of the house that finally truly belonged to me.